lifestyle diseases, is what I like to call them, world for a very long time. So I'm not somebody that should just got one little bit of science I look at. I mean, I see the whole gamut. I follow my passion. I follow all the longevity doctors of the world that are the best. And so we just know that as I go through this, it's coming from a very broad look. And then also, I've been working with the Skinny Drops. Partner Co. has only been in existence for 18 months, but it bought my company, which was called RX, and which had the rights to the Skinny Drops. So I've actually worked with the Skinny Drops for a decade and have over 1 million customers worldwide that I've dealt with. So we now have this dialed in to a science for anybody that has a desire. You've got to have desire in the health journey, because optimal health in 2024, anywhere in the world, but especially in the United States, is very complicated. It is, a lot of people don't understand how vindictive this food industry is. They know what you know, and they feed on you. So like everything that you could possibly ever read on the front of a bag or a box is a lie. They know all the buzzwords just like you know them. So they know exactly what to write on that front of that bag or box to make you think it's, quote, clean eating, and good for you and your family. That's what mamas do. They always try to keep their families healthy. Okay, so that being said, let's talk. I'm going to share my screen first. I want everybody to know the science of the Skinny Drops. Then we're going to talk about the approved food list, why it was designed, how it works, and then we're going to talk some general plateau breakers, and then we'll get any questions anybody wants to ask. There will be no dumb one. Just ask it, whatever it is, and we'll get it done. For some reason, my screen's not sharing. So Anthony is on with me tonight, moderating this for me. So Anthony, I'm coming right back. I got to log off and come right back in. I'll be right back.
Okay.
And you guys, I will say Todd was so great. Hey, Anthony, one day he just took 10 or 20 minutes to help me troubleshoot and went through all this. And I was like, man, everybody needs to know this information. Todd, we have to share you and your information.
I think he's back. You got to unmute, Todd.
And share to unmute. Yep. Okay, now we're ready. Sorry about that. All right, so let's talk through the Skinny Drops first. What they are, what they're doing, why they're different in everybody's body, why some people get results day one, why some people get results month 2 or 3. Okay, so bottle number 1 has 12 different ingredients. All ingredients in bottle 1 are part of what we call the homeopathic formula. And if you don't know what homeopathy is, that is microdosing, meaning there is microscopic amounts of the actual ingredients. It's very, very different. A lot of people get totally wrong information when they just go Google and they're not looking under the homeopathic version. So that's the first thing to always know. But one of those ingredients is called thyroidium 9X. In the natural world, by far, not even a competitor, is the best natural ingredient on planet Earth to bring thyroids into balance. My gut on it is it's 10 times better than any prescription medication, because 70% of women are on thyroid medication and it helps none of them. They all are still on it. Like they never come off of it. So this product actually moves the needle on that T3, T4 count, which is what the doctor is looking at there. And we get significant moves on that needle over a 90-day to 6-month time frame. It will depend on where your thyroid was when you arrived. Everybody arrives at different, levels of thyroid malfunction. Most being low, some being Hashimoto's, which is a low thyroid. It's an autoimmune disease. The flip side of that is a high thyroid or Graves' disease. That's much less likely on this call. Most of them are not struggling with weight loss, although they could be. Most are not. So the thyroid is a regulator of weight big time, because it's a regulator of your metabolism, which is how many calories you burn in a rested state. meaning you're just sitting there. We want metabolism to be high. That's the reason we never want to calorie restrict. I'm a big proponent of intermittent fasting, meaning go long periods of time without spiking your blood sugar. Tremendous science behind it, and it's also throughout the Bible. So you can go either route you want to. You can never refute fasting. However, when you do eat in your feeding windows, you don't need to eat like microscopic amounts, because if you eat less, your metabolism is going to slow down. It's not sustainable. I don't mean you have to eat a lot, but you just can't eat like little bits. That's probably one of the number one things I see women plateau is they're just not eating enough, and their metabolism has come to a screeching halt. A couple of other ingredients in there really help to optimize progesterone and estrogen. Depending on your age, depending on what's going on with those hormones, weight loss can be also more complicated. We see the needle move on those numbers in blood work, generally 90 plus days in on the drops. We see significant moves with some women with progesterone and estrogen, some that have been on the pellets for a long time that get right back in normal ranges in 90 days to 6 months on the drops. See it all the time. Other ingredients, the only safe place in the body for a toxin to store is a fat cell. It's where we store all of our toxins until we try to get it out of the body through the liver, through sweating, through urination, however it may be. So there's several ingredients stimulating that detoxification effect. That's the reason it's hyper important to drink water. Water is the catalyst in the ATP process. That is the process that makes your energy at the mitochondrial level. And without water, it's not going to be as effective. And water also is got to be present to get those toxins out once you kind of break them loose with the drops. The second bottle has got the good form of B12. That's the methylated form. We get tremendous results with anxiety, depression, low energy, low metabolism. B12 correlates to all of that. So all of those improve greatly. And if your B12 levels are low, you're going to be one of those people that are going to get results from the drops the very first day. If your B12 levels aren't low, just your thyroid or some other things, you may not get them as quickly. But because B12 is such a piece of mood, energy, when I have low B12 and I immediately start raising my B12 levels, I get immediate results. That reason you'll hear some women say, man, I feel like a brand new person. And other women saying, I can't even realize I'm taking them. That's all normal. We're all very, very different. It's got ashwagandha, which is called the mood food in the Eastern world, also good for the anxiety, the stress, the mood, the energy. It's got rhodiola, which limits cortisol secretion in high stress environments. Cortisol is a stress hormone that is released, and it tells our body to store fat. So we don't want that rhodiola. We don't want the cortisol being released. That's the reason we need the rhodiola in there, preventing it. And it's the only reason that a pregnant or nursing mom should not take the drops. It's not detrimental if they do, but the baby needs that cortisol. So you don't want to limit it. I always say that's your free pass as a woman. When you're pregnant and nursing, you get to do whatever you want to do during that time frame and feed that baby. But when you do get done nursing with the drops, we see women lose all the baby weight in like 6 weeks. It's the most crazy thing. All right, now let's move to the accompanying approved food list. And this is the part that 30 years of research has given me. And if you don't believe what I'm about to tell you, go research it. You'll quickly find out it's the truth. But nobody really looks this deep. They only hear the marketing because we pay attention to the noise. Every single diet that works is the same. So let's think about them. Paleo, Atkins, keto, Mediterranean, whole foods. I could go through the whole list. By the way, I'm naming the good ones. There's a bunch of bad ones out there like whatever that Optimvia, the one that limits you to 500 calories, the HTC shots limit you to 500 calories. Those are all death sentences when it comes to weight loss because you're going to slow metabolism down and wreck your insides. So you always want to be on a eating food list that allows you to maintain a normal calorie intake, because if you don't, it can never go long term and be greatly beneficial. But listen, only thing different in any of those diets I just named is how they brand the front end. Do they brand it keto, healthy fats, keeping simple carbs under 25 grams, keeping in ketosis all the time? Atkins diet, eat protein, eat bacon, like all those are branded in their own way. But here's what I want you to look at. They all eliminate the same foods. Like every diet that works must eliminate simple sugars and simple carbs. You will not find Coca-Cola, sweet tea, Gatorade, bananas, Bananas, by the way, one banana is the equivalent of a Snickers bar when it comes to sugar. And that's one way I break women's plateaus, is getting the banana out of the smoothie in the morning. Because you got to understand that once you spike insulin for the day, which is any simple sugar in your body, it's very difficult, almost impossible for a woman to lose weight, because insulin is a storage hormone. You're going to do a lot of exercise to burn through it and get back into what they call a ketogenic state, which keto diet is nothing but a branded name for what every diet's got to do, and that's get into burning ketones, which is fat for energy. So just look at them all now with a different set of lenses, and notice that the do not eat list for every diet is the same. So they're all low glycemic. We call it an approved food list, but if you look at this, it could be keto, it could be Atkins, it could be paleo, it could be whole foods, it could be any one of those by just tweaking a few things on the front end. But on the back end, it's identical. So that being said, most women that plateau are cheating. And I don't say that in a negative way. I say that in a way to get a person to like self-analyze. So in the morning time, I cannot spike my blood sugar. I can't put a half and half in my coffee. I can't have a muffin. I can't have a bagel. I can't have any of those things, because once that insulin spikes, that blood sugar raises, insulin comes to store it in a fat cell or in your liver and muscle, or in liver, muscle, blood, wherever it's going, is the glycogen or fat. Once it does that, most women are just not going to lose weight that day. Now, to take it one step further, a woman's body that's got a low thyroid, elevated blood sugar already, and 70% of women have that. When all those conditions are present, and you do something to spike blood sugar significantly, which could be like 2 to 3 glasses of wine, it could be a big ice cream cone. For most women, because this is a women's heavy calls reason I'm saying that, for most women, they're 2 to 3 days to get back into a fat burning state. Now, could you go run or work out and burn through it? You absolutely could, but most people don't. Our program doesn't require it. Like working out is not a requirement for weight loss. It is a requirement if you want to live a long, healthy life. Movement of the human body is fabulous. So anyway, that being said, I am going to do one other thing real quick. I'd planned on my wife doing this, but she's on another Zoom right now, so she's out in the hallway. But I wanted you to hear her story. I'm going to tell it. Maybe she'll be here at the end. But this product launched last night with a new flavor. So my wife, Ashley, matter of fact, I think we got the picture here. Let me see. Yeah. So that left-hand picture there are my wife and I at about 45. We are both healthy. Like, I'm running 5Ks. I work out. I've got a CrossFit gym at my house. The right-hand pictures, I'm 54 and she's 53. Nothing changed. Like, we don't work out as hard as we did at 45. We're still consistent. We still work out, and we still eat. We ate good then. We eat good now. Am I probably paying a little bit more attention? Maybe, but I've always eaten good. The difference is, I take those, me personally, I take the drops 4 times a day. She takes them 3 times a day. But the product that changed both of us, like that just elevated everything, was this Renew. Because what Renew does, we have 2 international patents on it, is it raises HGH in the body. And human growth hormone is the most important hormone in a man or female's body. For a female, if they have higher HGH, they're going to have way better levels of estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. It's going to optimize all the rest of the hormones. In the medical world, it's called the longevity hormone, because it's part of all cellular regeneration. So if you have higher HGH, you're going to have better skin, better hair, better nails, better body mass, better bone density, better heart health, lower bad cholesterol. Your cognitive thinking is going to be better. So my wife, Ashley, she got on the drop. She's 53. So she's right in that prime of things changing. She also had a hysterectomy, which exemplifies those issues. And the drops really helped her. But she still would say, I just don't have the energy levels I used to have, or have brain fog. She had plateaued. She's 5'3". She had plateaued around 135. That's eating right on drops, which in my opinion was a great weight. But in every woman's eyes, I always think every woman wants to lose 10 more pounds. And she did. She wanted to lose a little bit more, but really wasn't looking to do it. So she doesn't change anything other than she added Renew to her diet. And 90 days from the time she started, she was down to 118 pounds. Brain fog gone. And as she says, back in the morning times, like waking up ready to go again. She says she hadn't been able to do that in 4 or 5 years. So Really, 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 really good add-on. They're supposed to have a Renew Skinny Drop auto ship available sometime tomorrow for around 167. So it'll be a great combination for a really good price. Highly recommend that. In addition, if I am a woman, it will really, really, really benefit you. And then Kristen White she owns a CrossFit gym in Tennessee. And I don't see a lot of people that I personally know are smarter than me on nutrition, but Kristen is. Like, she's my go-to when I have a question. And she knows her body like exceptionally well as do all people who work out or bodybuild. But Kristen sent me that text. All I did was screenshot it for this slide here. But I've known Kristen since she was 18 years old. Her father is one of my very best friends, and she's always been a workout nut. But you can see what she said there, that the only thing she changed in her diet was she added Renew. And at 39, her abs are better today than they were at any point in her 20s. No additional crunches, no additional working out. I know for sure the same thing happened in my body. I know that my wife is totally different, and I'm just speaking for the ones here. I could tell that story for 1,000 people over. So anyway, I'm going to unshare my screen now and open it up, and then let you guys now, Susan, ask things that you want to know on a personal level as far as plateau break-in or anything anybody would like further explanation on.
Yeah, I would just like to open it up to see what questions everybody has.
I will tell you, and I, one thing to look at that does cause harm. I'm never wanting somebody to limit fun, because I want everybody to be here long term. But alcohol is poison, and it is straight sugar. So many times when people are plateau, they're having a glass of wine or a drink with dinner. And believe it or not, that is probably, out of any single thing people do wrong, it's either that or it's something for a woman in the morning time they're eating in the name of health. Something they think is good in their coffee and it's not. Something they're putting in their smoothie, but it's adding too many grams of sugar. They're eating it in a bag or a box. There is no such thing as a healthy cereal. It does not exist. I've seen one keto cereal is the only thing anybody's ever sent me that's close as far as losing weight, but the ingredients weren't that healthy for you, but at least didn't have any simple sugars and carbs in it without fiber. But that being said, anybody wants to ask anything you want to know, and you can ask it as hard as you want to. We'll do our best to answer it. And I'll tell you when I don't know.
I have a question, Todd.
Okay.
So my mother-in-law is 82 and has been on the drops. She's noticed it's lowering her blood pressure some, but she said that she gets nauseous every time she takes the drops. And I'm just curious why that would happen.
I don't know. The only thing that I could correlate it to is the clear drops do promote detoxification. And more than likely, an 82-year-old is not sweating very much, maybe not drinking enough water. So it could be stirring a little bit up, getting in their bloodstream. And so what I would do is maybe just cut back a little bit on the drops and let's get through that. But let's really gauge water intake. And if at all possible, I don't know where she lives at, but there was a way to put a sweatshirt on and walk outside for a day or two for 10 minutes and just get a little bit of a sweat bud because toxicity is removed through deep breathing, through urination, through excretion. However, the number one way for those toxins to get out of the body is through your sweat pores. And notoriously, on average, women don't sweat enough, especially women of age. So it's just part of life. So you have to make a little bit more conscious effort. But once you break it out, it's not like she has to always do it. It's just something in there that's more than likely causing that.
Thank you.
What do you think about using sauna blankets, like, to help with that detox, especially people, you know what I mean, that don't really get out and sweat? That would probably help, wouldn't it? We should
Absolutely.
do that.
I mean, so every now and then there's like overwhelming sites that nobody disagrees with. It's not often. Yeah. There's usually camps on everything, but one camp of overwhelming science is that people that get in a sauna for at least 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week, live longer than the ones that don't. So sauna blanket, sun, sweat, whatever you can do to get your sweat pores turned on, just a little bit, a couple times a week. Very, very, very beneficial. If you can't, just drink lots and lots and lots of water. The gauge is when you pee, look at like I'm talking as a nutritionist here, so don't get grossed out or anything, but look in the commode. Is your pee dark yellow, light yellow? Is it white? I mean, we got to pee a couple times a day white. In the morning time, the first pee may be darker because you've been dealing with toxins all night. So that's let me mention that, because this is one thing I tell everybody, very important. How you start your day can really change everything. So before I tell you what you need to do, I'm going to tell you what goes on in your body so you can understand why you need to do it. So the liver and kidneys work in overdrive the entire time you're asleep. The liver is, it's the human filter. It's your pull filter for the body. So all night long, your body has been filtering out the previous day's toxins, sometimes the previous month's, year's toxins, and it's got to have something to do with them. So when you wake up in the morning, before you do any other prescription medication, which the body views as a toxin, any prescriptions for toxins in the body, before you do anything with our nutritional supplement line, I'm talking about anything, anywhere, if you really want optimal health, go to the kitchen, get as big of a glass of water as you can possibly drink. It needs to be warm or lukewarm, not hot, it's just warm. And it's really, really good to squeeze a lemon and or a lime in it. It doesn't have to be the whole one. I do a whole one, but it surely doesn't have to be. My wife really just does like a little quarter of one. But if that's 24 ounces, 30 ounces, 8, I don't care what it is, but enough, like you should be full, and it should make you go to the restroom in the next 30 minutes. So that's like roll out of the bed and go do that, and then start your day, go brush your teeth, do whatever, come back after that and get coffee or whatever it may be. So listen, I like coffee as much as anybody else, but coffee is very acidic in the body. So we don't want to put something very acidic in the body the very first thing in the morning, because where is it going? It's going to our kidneys and livers. It's got all these toxins in it. So like, I'm complicating matters. Like, get on your body side, help it flush out all the work it did the night before. And that'll really expedite weight loss too.
What can you do to inspire us around not going after that cup of coffee?
Yeah, there's nothing
Help
wrong
us
with
with
coffee.
that, Todd.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with coffee. Just drink
I
a
go right
glass of
for it,
water
though.
first.
I go right for it.
Drink a cup of water first. Like, just do it first. Carry it, sit it by your bed. I mean, I need coffee in the morning too. It's just like, just drink the water first. You don't have to wait 10 minutes between the two.
So I put non-sweet almond milk in my coffee, and then I put organic liquid stevia. Tell me, what is that doing? What's that doing in my body? How do you feel about that?
I mean, they're both approved. I would do without the stevia if I was you. I'd just use a little bit more almond milk or coconut milk if I wanted more flavor. Like my go-to, I'm just sharing what I do following the book.
With me.
When I go to Starbucks, I will get, and it could be whatever you want it to be, but I'll just get an iced latte, large, and with whatever that is, either 2 or 4 shots of espresso, depending on my morning. And I'll say fill the rest up with either oat milk or macadamia nut, depending on what coffee shop I'm at. Milk, macadamia nut milk, by the way, is the best because it's high in fat. And you want healthy fats in the morning, big time. But almond milk and coconut oil are better than coconut milk are better than oat milk. Oat milk has a little bit too much sugar if you're really sensitive, but it also has a little bit better taste for a lot of people. So play around with it a little bit, but I'd rather have a little bit of oat milk than stevia. I just don't like putting anything in the body early in the morning after the body's been at work all night trying to get the toxins out. Give it a minute, water first, and then, and then don't spike blood sugar. That's the number one rule in the morning time. And like, if anything you could ask, it's always about what I'm consuming in the morning. Like, we got to, if you're plateaued, like if you're doing fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I love, so even protein will spike insulin to a degree. Yeah. So another camp where there's no, if somebody disputes it, they're just an idiot. They identify themselves as idiot. Like, nobody that knows anything about weight loss or overall health can dispute that fasting's good for you. Fasting is exceptional for the human body. It gives organs rest. It stabilizes blood sugar. No insulin is secreted. So if I'm trying to lose my last 10, 15, 20 pounds, the body does not view fat as fat, it uses it as energy. So it doesn't want its energy reserves to all be used up. It puts the body in a very compromising position. So the closer your body starts getting to what it calls its ideal weight, the harder it becomes to make that body burn that fat cell and turn it to a ketone for energy. So sometimes a little bit of fasting is needed to really, really get that where you want it to be. But you don't have to. Like, that's just something you can add. Go ahead.
Yeah, can I ask you one more question? I have a lot of people tell me, well, I took the drops exactly as it says, and it didn't really help me. But the thing you said about thyroid, that would mean that they really need to be taking it for like at least 90 days for it to really kick in and help their thyroid, right?
Yeah, I tell all of my customers on the front end, number one, this is not magic. If you don't eat from the approved food list, you're not likely going to get the results you exactly want. They go hand in hand. Although we have a lot of people that take the drops, I say about 30 to 40% because of the way it makes them feel. So weight loss is not a goal. You don't have to be so strict. But number two, and I especially tell this to the women, is that every woman's body here arrives differently. And this is not a negative. It's just a 2024 fact. There's a lot of middle-aged women that aren't in good health. Like, they have hormones out of whack. They have thyroids that are very low. They have metabolic syndrome. 70%, 7 in 10 women have that. And so 7 in 10 that buy drops from you are coming here. Now, they're all at different levels, but it for sure, like the human body, we're all genetically different. We're all different in our health when we arrive, and the drops are going to absolutely affect everybody at a different pace and different level. I've never seen them not work for somebody that does it 3 times a day, leaves them in the mouth for at least the 10 to 30 seconds, and eats from the approved food list. It has worked for 100% of the people. Now, do I see some that can cheat and still lose? I absolutely do. Do I see some that cannot cheat at all if they want to lose? Absolutely. Life is not fair. Like, you got to know that. Life is not fair. And if weight loss was easy, there would be no market for the skinny drops. Weight loss is hard. It's complicated. It's a journey. It never ends. It's not a destination. The body is a living organism. As long as we're alive, the body's going to affect what we do. It's going to be affected by what we do to it today. And then tomorrow, and then the next day. We don't get to do something one time right and let it stick. It just doesn't work that way.
Hey, Todd.
Yes, ma'am.
So question. So my mom is 81 and she's been on the drops for 6 months, and she has been following the approved food list to a T. Like, she practically eats the same thing every day. So I'll just tell you, and maybe you can help, because she's 81 and she probably she's only lost 15 pounds, and she lost that in the first 3 months, and she hasn't lost anything in the last 3. And
what is her weight and height?
oh gosh, I don't know her weight, but she's 5'1", so she's pretty short, but most of her weight is in her stomach. And she's constantly feeling, kind of like bloated, and, but we go over what she eats. Every day she'll wake up in the morning, she'll do her drops, and she will do a Pure Nourish shake with blueberries. And then for lunch, she does the drops, and then she'll do like 2 eggs, spinach, turkey bacon, and then something like that. And then she'll do a burn in the afternoon, and then she'll only do meat and veggies in the evening.
So let's do this. I'm going to give everybody that wants to write this down, write it down real quick. I'm going to give you my number. And for me to adequately do that for an individual, they've got a food journal for me for 3 days. And I'm happy to look at anybody that wants to do that. But my number is 850-714-1251, 850-714-1251. But if they would food journal that, and be honest in the food journal, and if they eat something out of a bag or a box, I need a screenshot of the label, I don't even care what it's called. I don't care what the front of the box or bag says. I just need to see the carbs, the fiber, the simple sugars. I got to see that ratio. And I've never not been able to spot what's holding it up. So, like, if she has still some significant weight to lose around her midsection, which I'm assuming she does based upon the way you said that.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's something that she's putting in it's a showstopper. But listen, it doesn't take but something. If I am a woman and I've got some things out of whack, it's crazy how little it takes to be the showstopper. And again, the drops, it takes a minute. It just takes a minute for them to get some other issues underway. So at 81 years old, I mean, I don't know what all could be going on in her body. So like when I'm talking to people individually, obviously I get, what medications they're on, what's going on. So like, sometimes people are taking prednisone. It's hard to combat a steroid that's trying to make you gain weight. Others have just come off, and I'll just name a couple of things that we're always going to identify. Some have had a antibiotic recently. So if you've done any type of antibiotic for any reason, it does not matter what type of antibiotic, it doesn't matter what reason you did it for. But if you've done that in the last year, an antibiotic it kills all bacteria non-discretionary. So your good bacteria is also killed along with the bad bacteria it was being taken for. So I really need to add the probiotic into my life for a couple of months if that's occurred, and get my gut health rebuilt. I could have candida growth going on in my stomach, which really, really exemplifies the desire for sugar, the uncontrollable urges between elevated blood sugar, which 70% of the people have, and then bad candida growth in the stomach. Those are the two things that just are almost impossible to overcome as a human, that you'll just cave to the cravings.
Okay. All right. I'll definitely do that. I mean, she did Restorax. She's on no medications. She's on probiotics. She's on all of our products. And
yeah, so I would say the Renew would help her more than anything, because she's at 81 going to be very low.
Okay. Okay, that sounds great. And one more question, if I could ask you, almond flour is not on the approved food list, but it's in some of the fat burning recipes.
Yeah. Almond flour is approved. It's just not like the approved food list does not have every single thing possible, but almond flour is approved. You're 100% good. But I will tell you a tricky one. Some of our most in tune doctors, you don't hear from some of them a lot, but the only approved oil they have is coconut oil. Like coconut oil is the only one. So if weight loss is a goal, cook your eggs in coconut oil. And I don't know if you've ever heard of most of you probably have heard of fat bombs, but maybe put a little coconut oil in your coffee. Some people just buy the straight MCT oil, do that with. Why is that? The science behind that is the body has to get used to burning ketones or fat for energy. And the other energy source that it has is glucose or glycogen, glucose being sugar in the blood, glycogen being sugar in the liver and muscle. That is body's first and second fuel source. And until those are depleted, it will not burn a fat for energy. So our body loves, remember, we've slept all night. We haven't eaten. Hopefully nobody's waking up and eating in the middle of the night. We've gone all night. We fasted. So resting glucose in the morning time should be the lowest for the day. We do not want to spike it. We want to keep it low. That's the reason intermittent fasting is awesome, but that's the reason for the cooking coconut oil in your eggs, because you're getting that good, healthy fats. Your body can continue burning fat. It doesn't throw it into a different fat burning zone. Our energy burning zone. And then, so those fat bombs and all that kind of stuff are just fabulous in the morning to keep that body in the right burning arena.
Okay, and you had mentioned one time about butter, that butter is actually different than traditional dairy. So are you saying, I just want to make sure that I understood you right, because I love butter.
Okay, so there's a little bit of contradiction here. From a weight loss standpoint, butter and ghee are fabulous. You can have it for weight loss, 100%. But here's the contradiction coming, and it's not good. So dairy is the number one hormone disruptor there is on planet Earth for women. So if I am here as a woman and my hormones are out of balance, then I'm probably going to have to be more toward coconut oil. If I'm a man, or I don't really consider my hormones being that out of balance as a woman, and weight loss is my only goal, butter is more than fine. Just no margarine, no fake butters. Real butter is great.
Hey, Todd.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just ask you to address, when you say fasting, are you talking straight water fasting? What liquids break the fast?
Any liquid that would have any liquid that would have just 1 gram of sugar in it. So black coffee is fine. Unsweet green tea or regular tea is fine, and water is fine. None of that spikes blood sugar. That would be considered fasting. But the second I start putting even just almond milk and oat milk, which doesn't much, but it's 4 or 5 calories of sugar, it's just enough to spike insulin, just enough it's going to kick most people out of the fat burning zone. But the reason it's okay is because you'll burn through it and go right back into fat burning zone. So which brings us to the number one issue in America today, and that's called metabolic syndrome. And what is metabolic syndrome? If you don't know what it is, you hear the word, you're like, what does that mean? So insulin insensitivity, metabolic syndrome is saying the same thing. Your body's having insulin trouble. It's not being able to switch energy systems. So your energy systems are really, really simple to understand. Energy system one is we eat anything that is sugar or can be converted to sugar, which is simple carb. That's going to go to the blood as glucose. Glucose is just sugar in the blood. That is energy source number one. If we eat more sugar or simple carbs than our blood needs, the body will begin to store. Storage place number one is the liver and muscles. When sugar is stored there, it is called glycogen, but all glycogen is stored sugar in the liver and muscle. That is energy source two. Number three, if I've eaten more sugar, which is like, this is when, I always say for dinner, eat 2 steaks instead of having a steak, a baked potato, and dessert, because it's that baked potato and dessert that kicks you into fat storing mode, because now you've went over the top, you got way too much sugar in the blood. Now the liver and muscle's full. Now it's going to start storing as fat, and you're going to bed and gaining weight that night. If I've eaten 2 steaks, I'm not going to be storing near as much fat. And I'm not saying eat 2 steaks. That's just an analogy for you. So, so storing is always, it's going to store it in the liver, in the blood, then the liver muscle, then the fat cell. But losing weight, it works exactly opposite, and it can never get out of order. So if I get up and walk to the car and there's available sugar in my blood, that's what I will use for energy to get there. If I haven't eaten in a few hours and my sugar's kind of depleted in my blood, I'll immediately pull it out of my liver and muscle from glycogen. If I have fasted for like 12 to 14 or 15 hours and my blood sugar and my glycogen is really low, then I'll flip over and maybe start burning a fat cell for that energy. So metabolic syndrome means your body does not use those energy systems interchangeably anymore. You are stuck in glucose and glycogen burning, which means when you run out of blood sugar and glycogen, you have like the most uncontrollable hunger pangs, headaches, you're hangry, like you got to have it because your body will not turn on the fat burning mode. You have to break that. And for most people, it's painful. Like it can be broken in any 3-day period, meaning you go all in on the approved food list, all in on the drops, all in on your water drinking. And on day 4, your energy systems are going to start working better, depending on how bad they were when you arrived. May not good yet, but better. But that first 3 days when your fat burning won't turn on, the ketogenic diet calls it the keto flu, meaning you feel like you have the flu. Everybody that's ever fasted before knows that day 2 is the hardest day of the fast, because that's when you're trying to flip on fat burning, but you're out of blood sugar. You're just like, ugh, I can't do this. But anybody that's ever fasted for a long period of time knows by around day 4 or 5, you're like in a state of euphoria, because ketones burn way better than glucose does. It's like a backlog on a fire instead of kindling. And when you're burning fat for energy, you don't have the ups and downs. You don't have all this cycle all the time. So that's what the ketogenic diet tries to do without fasting. Does a real good job of it for the ones that follow the instructions. And it's exactly what our program does. Our approved food list is the same thing. We're eliminating the simple sugars and simple carbs that don't have fiber attached, trying to keep the body in a ketogenic state, meaning burning fat for energy. And the drops are just helping the whole body system handle all of that better. So the last thing I'll say about the drops, and I'll use this in my own body, the science is in my head. It always has been. But I'm human, and I have fluctuated 30 pounds, one direction or the other over the last 30 years myself. Why? Because knowing what to eat and eating right has zero correlation. Eating right is called discipline, and it's discipline not for the morning time, not for lunchtime, but all the way through the evening time before bed. It's like you can cheat for 1 hour a day and screw the whole day up. I've done it many, many times in my life, and so has everybody else. I know exactly what I'm talking about. So like the drops became a miracle in my body because it allowed me not to have so much discipline to follow my knowledge bank. Like when my kids order I have 4 children. Everybody else has kids, and our kids in today's world, every now and then eat Chick-fil-A or order pizza or do whatever. So when that's in front of me, if the drops are in my body, I could absolutely care less. If the drops are not in my body, I have not taken them for a couple of weeks. All of a sudden, I got to make a decision. That pizza smells good. It looks good. I'd love to have it, but I shouldn't have it. It's bad for me. I know if I eat it, I'm going to throw my blood sugar out of whack. So like the drops keep those decisions from being so hard. That's the miracle of the drops. And then the renew really, go ahead.
Ty, you have a couple of hands raised. So I was gonna go through some of these hands whenever you get done. So whenever
let's get to the hands real quick because I've only got like 5 minutes left. I got to hop one more Zoom.
Okay, so we have Miss Ann R.
Yes, I had a quick question for you. You're talking about the 1 gram of sugar in the morning for the fasting time. You said lemon juice is great in the morning, which is what I do. Will that lemon juice affect my fast?
No, 0. Lemon water will not affect your fast.
Okay, thank you. And then I had another question. Women's monthly cycles. I know we retain water, and I've noticed it slows down during that time. Do you know about how long it should take for that to equalize out afterward? Because I've been on a really long plateau, even though I'm following religiously. And I'm just wondering how much that monthly cycle really does affect that.
There's 0 doubt it affects it, but it shouldn't affect it more than 3 to 7 days, and a little bit of variation between women and probably between each cycle too. But it definitely affects it, and weight loss will be a little tougher in those couple of days of ovulation and different things. So just know that, accept it. It is what it is. Women's bodies are pretty daggum complicated.
Yes, they are.
They are very complicated, y'all.
Thank you.
I'm glad I'm not one, but I sure do appreciate you guys. But yeah, y'all definitely have a harder journey than us men do. You've got a lot of different things, moving parts. But if it's going more than 4, 5, 6, 7 days, so some of the women that I've had that have lost, I'll use a Kim Gray. So Kim had muscular dystrophy. She dropped 100 pounds with us. Nothing had ever worked for her all the way to 52 years old, and then she found this and dropped 100 pounds in a year. But like with her, one, she hates everything. She's very taste sensitive, so it's hard for her to eat healthy. And number 2, she just her metabolic syndrome was just terrible. So with her, we had a couple of apple fast days. She never could do a complete fast, which I love, a 24-hour fast to drain blood sugar and like just speed the whole process up. Like if I was totally plateaued and weight loss was my goal, I would just fast for 24 hours and then come right back in eating strictly from the approved food list, like burn through it. But for her, we would do like unlimited apples for the day. I didn't care how many she ate. And every time she did that, she would lose 2 or 3 pounds the next 2 or 3 days following that. So little tricks like that will help.
Yeah,
you don't have to go to those extremes. Yeah. Generally speaking, you don't have to go to those extremes if you're up in water. And if you'll food diary for me, it's generally something for a woman, it's something so small. And it's the most knowledgeable women that I struggle with the most, because knowledgeable women, and I don't say this negatively, but knowledgeable women get clean eating and losing weight mixed up in their head. Losing weight is an exact science. There is no wiggle room. I don't care what opinions people have out there. Losing weight, you have to get the body in a ketogenic state. That's the reason whoever came up with a ketogenic diet is the smartest person on planet Earth, because all he did was brand what every diet has to do to work. Every diet's got to be get you in a ketogenic state. They may not keep you there like the ketogenic diet does, but if you're not in a ketogenic state, you're not burning fat for energy. That's just what it's called scientifically. So for
what happens?
Go ahead.
What happens when you remove the fruit from your diet? Do we have to have that fruit?
That's what I was wondering. Maybe just cut it out.
Yeah. So fruit, the berries are fine. Blueberry, blackberry, strawberry, all fine. The ones you've got to really watch out for: grapes, and watermelon, and you cannot have any fruit juices. So like an apple is fine because you've got the fiber attached, but apple juice is very detrimental. It'll spike blood sugar worse than a Coca-Cola will. And the same with orange juice. So I'm not a big fan of too many oranges in the true weight loss phase, but you for sure can't have orange juice. I'm okay with 1 orange in the middle of the afternoon because you got plenty of fiber attached to it. But watermelon can't have it, and grapes can't have it, and bananas for sure can't have it. Bananas got 35 grams of sugar.
All right, Todd. So we got a couple of more. We Miss Liz.
Hey, I wanted to ask number one, with like I normally drink noni in the morning times. So should I not drink the noni in the morning times, Todd?
Yeah, so that it all goes back to being 100% healthy and losing weight are not aligned. And that's what, when that's my hardest part of helping really knowledgeable people lose their last 10 pounds because they get the two confused. So, like if you talk to a John Wadsworth, who's a picture of health, he will tell you to take a shot of noni. The second, now, John, by the way, does do his water and lemon first before he does his noni. All healthy people do. But noni is a great way to start. I mean, it's 2,000 published papers on it. It's one of the best superfoods on planet Earth. Tremendous healing power. So many antioxidants. I mean, it's just an unbelievable product. But it's sugar, so it will absolutely spike insulin.
Okay.
So if weight loss is my goal, I would no way in planet Earth would I start my day with noni. I would do my noni, my moa, and my lamu. I would do them all at one time, later in the afternoon or early evening, and give my body time throughout the day to burn fat. Because remember, once I spike my insulin, it's really difficult for a lot of women to ever burn fat that day because insulin spikes. Those start storing that sugar in the liver and muscle. It's a storage hormone. It's going to try to store it in a fat cell. And so all that's got to be depleted back out. And for people that have metabolic syndrome, low thyroids, don't exercise much, like that's just not easy for their body to do. So like my body, I mean, it's just hard in my 50s. If I get up and work out and run, I can get away with a little bit. But if I don't, I continue my intermittent fasting out. I don't have a set personal time on intermittent fasting. I always say, don't eat until you're hungry, and don't starve yourself. But every now and then, if I'm plateaued, if I feel like I've got some uncontrollable cravings, I'm telling you now, there is nothing more healthy on planet Earth for the human body than a 24-hour fast, except maybe a 3-day fast.
I have the metabolic syndrome, but I've been drinking noni first thing, and then I was drinking water after that. So I know what to do about that. My next thing is, okay, I'm taking the Restorix. All right. So I know I read this. Number one, we should not mix it with a metal spoon. We should use a wood spoon, and it needs to be mixed up in a glass, correct?
Yeah, because Restorix, for those that don't know what it is, it's our detox product. It's one of the best on planet Earth. It's got chia seeds, it's got spirulina, chlorea, activated charcoal. But our main ingredient we have the patent on is called zeolite, and it's from the country of Austria, not Australia, but Austria. We have a patent on this particular form of zeolite. It really pulls those heavy metals and toxins out. So yes, you never want to put our Restorix in a plastic bottle because it will leach the plastic into your body. And you never want to put it on any type of metal because it'll pull it out. So, Restorix doesn't really have a flavor, but if you don't use a frother or shake it like in a glass jar, it will be gritty. So like a glass mason jar is really good to do it. A frother and just any type of normal cup would be fine.
Should that be done before, like the last thing before you go to bed? Or can you do that like renew last? I mean, could you do it before you do renew?
Yeah, it's not going to be hugely important time-wise. I just wouldn't do them within 30 minutes of each other. Okay. Get one of them on down the digestive system before you put the other one in.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Ty, we got Mr. Joe, and then Amy, and then Kim. That's the last three.
Hey, Todd.
Yes, sir.
Todd, what about avocado oil?
Yeah, so on the oils, the only oil that is approved is coconut oil. Now, walnut oil, coconut oil, olive oil, like they all have their own cases. I'm not going to say they're bad for you, but if I'm plateaued and I'm wanting to get to the finish line, the only approved oil is coconut oil for weight loss. I'm not talking about health, I'm talking about for weight loss. Big difference in the conversation.
Right. I was wondering why, because I stayed at one spot for a little while, then I dropped 2 more pounds. I'm like at that one spot again.
Yeah, I mean, that could be it, could not be it. I mean, generally speaking, I would say that would be the least thing I would be concerned about. I'm more concerned about something spiking insulin That's simple sugars, carbs. That's the noni in the morning. That's the something in the coffee that shouldn't be there. That's the things I'm really looking for somebody that's plateaued. But yeah, if I'm getting close to perfect, everything matters.
What I do in the mornings, my vitamins first, and then the water.
Okay. I do water first. Water first. Nothing but water. Get that liver.
Then later on, I'll do my coffee after, but that, not first. All right, Anthony, you do next person.
Okay.
Do we need to let you go? Do you have another phone call?
Yeah, I've got 5 minutes left. I've got to be there at 8:45. So you've got about you got about 5 minutes.
Respect your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Todd. We got Amy and Miss Kim, and then it'll be the last two.
I just have a quick question for Todd. He said he does his drops 4 times a day. Can he describe that?
Yeah, so I learned this. So Dr. Mike Dimiego, you'll find him in some places out there on YouTube talking about some of our products. But Dr. Mike is an internist in Ormond Beach. He's been with me for a very long time. So he's had about a decade with the Skinny Drops too. He's kept immaculate records in his internist office with his patients with lifestyle diseases. Lifestyle diseases, by the way, are prediabetes, metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, elevated high blood pressure 90% of the time, elevated bad cholesterol, elevated triglyceride. All those are lifestyle diseases, meaning we self-inflict those on our own self. So the Skinny Drops will stabilize blood sugar if you follow the approved food list within a week. I mean, we see resting glucoses go from 200 to 105 in less than a week for people that self-glucose monitor or immediately go back to the doctor. The other lifestyle diseases, which are triggered by that high blood sugar over a period of time, take longer. So like bringing blood pressure down, bringing bad cholesterol down, rising good cholesterol, bringing elevated triglycerides down, all those, they may be 90 days, 6 months, a year, getting those all back in normal ranges. It takes a little bit longer. So anyway, now that being said, Dr. Mike Dimiego taught me years ago that in the medical world, all prescription medication is given based upon age and weight. He said nutrition is the same thing. So he said there's no way that putting drops underneath the tongue 3 times a day for a 135-pound woman and a 235-pound man is going to do the same thing in their bodies. It's not enough. So anytime I generally get a human being, male or female, above 190, I'll say do it 4 times a day until you feel them kick in. If they're 250 plus, I'll say 4 or 5 times a day do you feel them kick in. So I've just found in my own body that just even in the maintenance phase, I don't do it 4 times every day, just simply because I got normal life like everybody else. But 3 to 4 times every day is my normal regimen. And I've been around the drops for a long time, and I have cycled on and off. But I will tell you, if I cycle off the drops in about a month, I will find myself, how I know that it's not in my body anymore, is I will find myself having to make decisions. When the drops are in my body 4 times a day, I honestly can take it or leave it. It's the social aspect of having, a glass of wine with my wife at dinner, like any social aspect, that's always going to be present. You got to figure out, what's appropriate for you. But the desire for sugar and those simple carbs that you really want it, if you're taking the drops actively for your body weight, that will not be there. It's going to go away unless you're just sabotaging yourself every day.
And I think if we're highly addicted to binge eating and addiction and stuff, Todd, like I find for me, I'm like 140 pounds. I need to take the drops 4 or 5 times a day, and it is a night and day difference. Like I have a normal relationship with food.
Great add on there. I would say most people, yeah, most people that play around with that, like Susan just said, they find great success with it. So just play around with it a little bit in your own body and see if you notice a difference. Up your water intake. As high as your body weight in ounces is the least you can drink. So like measure it. There's water bottles on Amazon you can order and carry around with you all day if you like stay on top of it. But most women do not drink enough water. So that's always a culprit I'm looking at. And like, let me tell you, the one thing, just it's complicated. Like my favorite product is not Skinny Drops with our company, because Skinny Drops make me do this all the time. All of our products are amazing. They all do different things in the body. A lot of them work in conjunction with each other, but there's just no secret pill for weight loss. there are things that accelerate it and help it. And I think skinny drops, especially skinny drops in a Renew combination with a detox of RestoreX and our approved food list is as good as I've ever seen in 30 years. I mean, the amount of people that lose weight, feel better, have energy, get rid of some hormonal things going on, see blood work get better. It blows my mind. But that does not mean there's not equally amount of people that aren't getting the desired results they want. Like this is real world stuff. This is not a hey, let's take this and let's all get to the perfect weight because we're taking something. It's just not that simple.
All right, Todd, one more, and that's coming from Miss Kim Evans.
Hi, Todd. Thank you so much for this call. I am learning so much. I am a new brand partner of just a few weeks, but I do have a question. I have two questions. I am assuming no sweet potatoes for breakfast because we don't want to spike our insulin. Is that correct?
Yeah, potatoes are, and that's my weakness. Like I could live on breakfast potatoes, but yes, you cannot have it. White potatoes are off limits for sure. They're
sweet potatoes. What about sweet potatoes?
Oh, I didn't hear you say sweet. Yeah, sweet potatoes are approved. I probably would not do them in the morning time unless you're active. If you're active, you're fine. But if you're going to sit in a cubicle or not be active, I'd be really careful about it if weight loss was a goal. Now, for overall health, the other thing I'm going to remind everybody, losing weight and gaining weight is also two different things. So like you can do a lot of things and not gain any weight, but you'll sabotage the weight loss of it because you can't get into fat burning mode and actually burn a fat cell for energy. So eating sweet potatoes for breakfast may not cause you to gain any weight. It's a really healthy way to maintain a weight, but it may be just enough simple carbs getting in the body to not get you into fat burning mode to lose weight. So you got to play around with that a little bit personally too.
Okay, thank you. And my second question is, I have a client who's my sister, and she texted me just a minute ago and said that she's on day 4 now of the drops, and she has a very strong smell in her urine. Her urine's light color. She does drink a ton of water. Is that part of the detox process?
Yeah, there's two things that you want people to have. One is you want detox coming out in the urine, dark yellow, smell, like you want the junk getting out of the body. Drink more water, like speed the process up. The other thing you're going to see a lot, and that especially with fair complected people, is like little red rashes on the skin. That is also a great sign that toxins are trying to get out of the body. Again, up water and try to sweat, because that little red splotches under the skin are toxins in the sweat pores trying to get out, and you're not giving them any support at all. They're just kind of blocked in there.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. I'm going to watch the replay because my head is spinning, but this was so good tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, and Susan, we can do this like once a week until we kind of get everybody educated and passing it on.
This would be the greatest series for everyone, Todd. This was amazing. I mean, I can tell everybody it's just like, this is what we needed. This is perfect to share. I walked away with so many tips, and I'm just blown away by your knowledge. We would love to have your time. I'm speaking for the whole group. It would just grow like crazy.
Well, y'all are all amazing. Y'all blow my mind how fast this whole team is growing. So congratulations to everybody. But listen, everybody's on their own personal journey, and the journey for perfect health and perfect finances is a crooked road. So just don't get off on the curve. Just keep on going and get to your destination, and you'll be glad that you did.
Awesome.
Everybody be blessed. And just let me know when we want to get back, Susan.